All right, let's head over to Silindelo Masikane this morning for the very latest surrounding Bongani Ntanzi, but also the breaking story this morning being that Judge Tshifhiwa Maumela, of course, we understand, according to the Judicial Service Commission's statement, they, of course, requested for the President to consider his suspension. Slee, good morning to you. We spoke about this earlier on, but touching on once again, first and foremost, about that suspension that's been requested by the Judicial Service Commission. What can you tell us again, once more, colleague, regarding their statement?
Yes, a statement was released this morning by the Judicial Service Commission just after 9 a.m. this morning, actually, in terms of some of its recommendations pertaining to two judges to the President. And this is with regards to essentially their conduct. And to just read from the statement itself, it says that the JSC decided that the failure to deliver the reserved judgments, if established, will prima facie indicate incapacity, gross incompetence or gross misconduct on the part of the judges, taking into account the extent of the delay and the prejudice suffered by the party. So it seems as though some investigations into the cases that Judge Maumela presides over, there have been several complaints with regards to the speed in which those matters are concluded, and that there are no essentially speedy outcomes, which of course then prejudices the parties involved in those particular matters. And so according to the Judicial Service Commission Act of 1994, the Chief Justice will probably appoint a tribunal, and that they have advised or recommended to the President that Judge Maumela then be suspended. But also, in terms of those then wondering what happens to the trial, which is supposed to resume next week, we understand that the statement further goes on to say that the judges, which is Judge Maumela and Mgqibisa Thusi, be placed on suspension pending the outcome of the tribunal processes, with certain conditions, including that the judges must, during the period of suspension, finalize all matters that are presently before them. So I had an opportunity to speak to a legal expert just to understand whether then Judge Mela will be able to continue to preside over the trial, and it seems that he probably will be in terms of the possible suspension, but also, of course, it depends on what legal representatives for the accused also think about those news. They may perhaps want to then bring an application for the judge to recuse himself. But that's all speculation at this point. But the statement then by the JSC confirming that they have recommended that Judge Maumela be suspended. And in terms of the proceedings we're going to see today, we are inside the North Gauteng High Court, Court GA, where you do see that Bongani Ntanzi has actually made his way to court. I have lost my connection to you, Dumelo, but you can see Bongani Ntanzi accused to in the Senzo Meyiwa trial. He is here in the dock consulting with his legal representative, a new legal representative who in fact was appointed during the last sitting of this trial last year, and this is why we actually had to postpone until May this year, was because the new legal representative was going to have to be given access to the dockets as well as the transcripts of the trial so far, meaning that he needed time to familiarize himself with the court proceedings that have taken place so far. Now, Bongani Ntanzi, from what he's told the court in his application to be released on bail, was that he was never given the opportunity to apply for bail and has been incarcerated for about 2 years, waiting for this trial to take place. He, obviously spoke about his personal circumstances, also noting or saying in his affidavit that he is the only one, in fact, of the accused that has never been convicted. He does not have any pending matters before the courts, and it's only the Meyiwa trial. He, of course, continues to plead his innocence and has actually also been identified in a doc identification by one of those who was in the house on the night that Silindelo was shot and killed. That is Meyiwa's best friend, Silindelo Masikane, who during the court proceedings, during the trial last year, pointed Ntanzi as being one of the two alleged intruders who was in the house on that particular night. So it is just after 10 a.m. this morning. What's also quite interesting is that there is somebody else who's here who's quite a familiar face to the matter. That's Advocate Malisela, or should I say former Advocate Malisela Tshifhiwa, who has surprisingly come to court and was seated in the courtroom. But I can also tell our viewers, Dumelo, is that I have also been informed by the NPA that accused number 4 in the trial has actually also acquired new legal representation. This took place on Wednesday, and from what we understand, that new legal representation has indicated that, you know, they will be ready to proceed on next week, Tuesday. I'm going to ask you to just move towards Advocate Tshifhiwa. I'm not sure if he will speak to me, but we will try. We're going to try and see or understand exactly why he's here. We know, of course, that he's also been struck off the roll, and at this point is not a lawyer, but perhaps he is still taking a keen interest in the case. I'm going to try and speak to him. Mr. Tshifhiwa, how are you doing today?
I'm fine.
I'm good. It's a surprise to see you in court today. What brings you here?
No comment. No comment.
No comment.
Yes.
All right, no comment from Malisela Tshifhiwa, but of course we will await for court proceedings to begin at this point. And Ntanzi is seated in the dock, and we're just waiting for the judge to come in.
All right, Silindelo Masikane, we'll be sure to catch up with you, colleague, as soon as there are other developments. Ntanzi applying, of course, for bail. Rather, you know, legal experts questioning the timing of this bail application bid by Ntanzi. But we also understand that he's got new legal representation with him. We saw, you know, his lawyers briefing him ahead of that appearance this morning. This alongside the JSC, of course, recommending to the President Cyril Ramaphosa, to suspend Judge Tshifhiwa Maumela, who's been, of course, the presiding judge over the Senzo Meyiwa trial. Our eNCA senior reporter Silindelo Masikane at court, and will be bringing us those developments right here on eNCA.